Terry Blaze, Managing Director of Freight 365. Today I'm here with my colleague
James Sharples. I'm the Sales Manager for Freight 365, joined by my esteemed colleague and friend, Sir Terry Blaze.
Very nicely put that.
Very nice. Well, that's one of a few names you've had, isn't it? Larry Tays, that was a good one.
Jerry
was another one. I don't frustrate you whatsoever.
Just part of the job. Look, I've been called a lot worse, mate. Probably by some of you as well. So, look, I brought you in here. Something I know you know a lot about. Something which I know you take care of and notice it as being a real core point to handling and quoting shipment is the subject of delays and deadlines. Want to just have a quick chat with you about what they are, causes, solutions, that kind of thing.
Let's get into it.
Okay. So, delays and deadlines. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about causes first.
Plenty of causes for delays and deadlines. You know, within sales, we experience it a lot. As me and the team, it can be a number of factors. It can be you've been given a specific cargo ready date. The supplier hasn't got that cargo ready on time.
Right.
So therefore, your collection date's going to change. The vessel you're going to be booking on is potentially going to change. It can be that you've missed a sailing. It could be that the shipping line's blanked a sailing.
Yeah.
There's a number of factors that can cause delays. Every stop of the journey as well, you've got to take every step of that journey into consideration. So if a shipment is going X works, for example, you know, you're collecting it from the supplier, you're then taking it to the port, you're then getting it to load into the dock and etc. to get ready to go onto the boat. There's about 7 steps within your cargo's journey, and possibly more than that, which can actually cause a delay to your shipment.
Yeah, look, lots of things can happen. I mean, even before you're on the vessel, you rightly said, you know, you've got collections to think about, you've got warehouses to think about, you've got bookings to think about to get cargo on board the vessel. Probably one of the most important things as well is customs. You know,
100% agree with that. Yeah,
you can make everything perfect in terms of documentation and declarations. Sometimes you just get caught on a rare occurrence of a random check, it might be.
And then any stumbling block within that road can cause or affect the rest of your freight. So, for example, if you're then late in picking it up, you know, are you going to be late to the port? Are you then going to be allowed to check that cargo in? Is there got a certain cut-off time? Any one of these risks along your cargo's journey can cause problems for delays.
So we know that can happen. So when we're talking about a deadline, why do we need to know that? What's important about that? What does that, if I said to you, you know, my supplier's got this cargo ready, I'm really sorry, but it's late. And do you know what? I need this cargo here. This is my firm deadline date. What are you then going to do with that information?
The deadline is one of the first questions that we ask. You know, it's almost as important as the commodity. It's almost as important of the form of shipping, the dimensions. If it's not an FCL, it's an LCL. The deadline is one of the most important questions that a salesperson should be asking at your freight forwarding service, because that depends on the service he's then going to promote.
Yeah.
So, say for example, to take into consideration, say I provided you a cheap quote initially because we knew we had 2 months to get it here. That time's now changed by 3 weeks because the supplier isn't ready. Your price is going to be very different to the service that I've quoted.
Yeah, well, three weeks heavy delay.
3 weeks, yeah, massive delay. I'm just flapping my gums.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying, so yeah, I just had this vision in my head that, you know, you had this plan, it was coming sea freight, but now your deadline can't change.
If your deadline can't change,
what you're going to do?
So how that affects what I'm going to do is I'm going to be looking to put it on a completely different service. If I know I've got plenty of time to get your cargo here, I can quote you a cost-effective shipping line that we know there probably is going to be delays. We know that it's going to be probably slightly unreliable. The only person that's going to... Pretty much all of them. Yeah, forget it. End the video. We know that there will be problems, but the only person that's going to cause a problem for is your actual operations professional, and you should still get your cargo on time. If that journey time is cut short by the cargo not being ready on time, I'm going to have to promote more reliable services. Obviously, promoting more reliable services to ensure that we're meeting that deadline means that the price is going to change.
Just hold that for, let's talk about that in solutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's discuss those solutions.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you short, but I think it's quite important that we, detail what could cause it, on what the solutions are, just so that we can get our message across clearly. I know you've got solutions, so
Solutions is a lot of the time it's going to be service. You know, I mean, if we have had it cut that short, you know, your sales professional within a freight forwarding company might have to start looking at drastic changes that he might have to make. For example, he might have to look at a solution where we charter some of your shipment, like maybe 5-6 pallets, to tide you over by air while we're waiting for a full container load to cut in.
yeah.
It could be on more reliable services, because again, this deadline is key. If your deadline,
Yeah, the deadline's firm. I can't
if
change
the deadline
it.
is firm,
I've made promises to my customer. He wants me to deliver. My only option is deliver it on this day.
right? Okay, so all right, that does change things. So yeah, if the deadline's been cut drastically short, there's a number of options we can look at, and this is where freight forwarders have to think differently. You know, a lot of freight forwarders will just say, no, that's when it's going to get here. Sorry, tough shit,
Yeah,
essentially.
that's bad.
So we can look at rail freight. Rail freight tends to be quicker by about 10 days than it does for sea freight, which can make a drastic difference. Yes, can be more pricey, but we're going to get it here quicker. We could look at an option of, you can probably ship more cargo. So let's stick to the sea freight coming in. If this is an option, it's definitely an option I would float. Let's stick to that container being delayed.
No pun intended, by the way.
No, but, but let's look at air freighting some stock, getting it over here within a week to be able to tide you over and keep your customer happy until the container comes in. Yes,
it's quite cost effective actually. Rather than do the whole container by air, no, just take some cargo to tide you over. Maybe switch on.
And you could end up with more stock, you know. So still ship the full container. Yeah. Just have some more stock.
Yeah, just maximise the price that you're going to pay. Yeah, exactly right. It's a good idea. The key point is knowing the deadline. If we know the deadline, then we know what we're working with. You know what services to look at. You can advise the client. You know, even with air freight, it's not just one service. There's 3 types of service: direct, indirect, and the other one that really goes 6 to 10 days. So if you know the deadline, then you can target a service that actually suits what the customer's requirement is.
And again, it suits what the customer's requirement is, sticking to the deadline that they've given you. I mean, there is plenty of solutions as long as your freight forward is thinking creatively enough.
Right, and he should prepare you if the solution needs to change. If your deadline is firm, you have to be aware as the client that the quote's now changed, the service is completely different.
Completely, yeah.
Do expect changes to the quote.
If I'm quoting a more reliable and a faster shipping line with a better transit time, the price is definitely going to be different. Yeah. You know, if I'm suggesting taking some of it by air freight, the price will be different. If I'm suggesting taking it by rail because that deadline is firm and we're going to get it here 10 days quicker, the price will be different. But that's where you need to measure up. Is the conversation with your customer where we say it's going to be 10 days late, but we're getting it here at the price that we expected if you are passing that cost on to the customer.
Yeah.
Or provide them the options. Or we can stick to your deadline.
Yeah, at least get some solutions on the table. Present the options, and then the client can decide which way they would like to tackle the
Think
problem.
outside the box.
Think outside the box. I like that.
Good. Thank you. Sir Blerrington of Tays.
Right, Hammers. Give me one time.